Like this show and want to make your own? Let me tell you about Anchor. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Now you can even add any song from Spotify directly to your episode. The possibilities are endless for what you can create, whether it's music analysis, your own radio show, or something the world's never heard before. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Hello, you're listening to Got Clutter, Get Organized, a podcast that focuses on helping you create space to attract more money, love, and happiness in your life. I am your host, Janet M. Taylor. I want to say hello if you're a regular listener and welcome if you're listening for the very first time. I hope you are having a great week. And of course, if you enjoy listening to this podcast, please leave a review. And this week, Connie Ellefson said, really enjoyed listening to this podcast, especially like the host's voice. Well, Connie Ellefson, thank you so much for this. I truly appreciate it, especially sometimes when I feel like I'm just struggling because of different sinuses and allergies. So I appreciate your comment. And of course, I'm excited to share that there are two ways you can support this podcast individually by clicking the Buy Me a Coffee link or as a business. And either way, I will give you a shout out on the air, and details for both are in the show page. Well, as we get closer to the new year, a lot of you are just kind of surrounded by your stuff, your clutter, just trying to figure out what to do, where to start. So I brought on an expert, and her name is Connie Ellefson, and she's the author, and she's a fellow organizer, and she's going to be sharing some year-end organizing strategies and decluttering tips that you can use not only now, but also in the new year. I will also be sharing my product, app repurpose, and book suggestion for this week, which comes from our guest. And of course, the question for this week is, what do you want to organize before December 31st? What is it? Is it a drawer? Is it your in-basket, your emails, your photos, and your cell phones? What do you want to organize? In a 2011 study from the Princeton Neuroscience Institute found that having too much visual stimuli makes it difficult for your brain to focus and process information properly. Which is why I invited an expert, Connie Ellefson, and she is an engineer and a professional organizer working in the Denver metro area. Since 2008, she has helped others discover great creativity and increase energy that was tied up in unnecessary clutter. She is the owner of Clear the Space Incorporated, professional organizers in Denver, and would love to help you clear the space and make room for your dreams. Her passion is helping others feel the rush by releasing the incredible amount of creativity and energy tied up in unnecessary clutter, whether physical, emotional, or possessional. Clutter takes up space in our psychics and calendars that could be put to much more productive, creative, and fun use. And Clear the Space Incorporated is here to help you find that energy and make room for your dreams. So, sit back, get your tablet, get a pen, get a paper, and take some notes. My conversation with Connie. Well, listeners, it's almost near the end of the year, and I know the top of your list for the new year is going to be get organized. So I thought it would be great to bring in an expert to just give us a few strategies on how we can really maybe start dealing with our clutter now so that when we get into the new year, we won't be as overwhelmed. But not only is she an expert organizer, she's also an author. So I have Connie Ellefson, and she wrote Clear the Space, Feel the Rush, Declutter Body, Mind, and Stuff to Reclaim Energy, Freedom, and Fun. Connie, just welcome.
Thank you so much, Janet.
So before we get into the details on like some of the things that we need to do, first question is what made you become a professional organizer, but what also motivated you to write the book?
Okay. I'm by profession, I'm a civil engineer, but the kind that I am tends to go up and down with the housing market. So after several layoffs in a few years, I thought it might be time for a new career. And I remembered that I enjoyed organizing and tidying up my desk way more than the work. And I also noticed that I can be paralyzed if I'm trying to do something creative or difficult. If I have a bunch of clutter in my visual field, I just can't get anything done. So I thought I would try to help other people clear out their space so to have more room in their lives for fun stuff and making progress.
And then oh, I'm sorry, I didn't put, but your book.
Yes, the book. I quickly realized, I have to confess, I'm an organizing book junkie. I've bought them all. And I've tried them all. And a lot of times I would get all excited. I would get to the 90% mark and then I would stop. I would never finish it. I'm like, what's that all about? And I realized that the clutter that we see, the stuff, is our belongings. It's kind of like the tip of the iceberg. And the emotional clutter in your mind or whatever that's underneath that is probably much bigger. But we tend to just focus on the stuff that we see because looks the most obvious. And then I realized sometimes you just don't even feel like getting started on the big project because you don't physically feel kind of lethargic. So I decided to write a book that was more holistic about the physical body, your mental and emotional clutter, and then your possessions all together.
And I think this is a great idea because, like you said, we all a lot of times focus on the physical stuff, but then there's so much other stuff, the mind stuff. And I love what you said is reclaim your energy, your freedom, and your fun, specifically when you let go of the stuff. So in your mind, Connie, what are some of the things that, as we approach the new year that maybe we just need to like really let go of?
Okay. The number one thing that I always say in any of those areas is to let go of the guilt. First, declutter the guilt. That's my number one rule. Guilt about how it got there in the first place. How is it such a mess? What's with all this chaos? I'm an intelligent person. Why can't I make this go away? And so don't beat yourself up because you haven't gotten there or you haven't done the perfect method that's kept everything just the way it's supposed to be. It really is a process. We wouldn't think we could work out one time and be good to go, or eat one healthy meal and that'll be good for the rest of our lives. We'll be all healthy. We know it's an ongoing process, and it's exactly the same with your belongings, because no matter how streamlined you get, you're still going to do some shopping once in a while, and you're still going to accept gifts. So there's going to be more stuff coming in, and you have to realize it's a maintenance type thing too. It's not just a one-time deal. So that's the number one thing to declutter before the end of the year. And the second one is the idea that organizing takes way too much time. There's no way to ever get it completely done. That part's true, but that it does takes too much time. It's completely worth it. They estimate we spend an average of 55 minutes a day looking for stuff that we can't find, or that I also factor in when we think about it, and then we think, oh, but I don't know where it is, or, oh, it's too hard to get it out. So all that time factors into, and it takes a lot of your energy. So it really is a time saver in the long run, and you can get a lot done in a short time too. So that's kind of encouraging. It's hard to get started.
Yeah.
So my book has got many strategies to help you get motivated to get going in some direction.
And it does. It has a lot of strategies, and I also like the way you broke it up and just really dealing with all the areas sometimes that we don't even think about. And one of them that I saw was it was the possessional clutter, your belongings, your stuff, and also, of course, clear the body clutter as well. I mean, it's just all of those things. And I think when you start dealing with all of that, a lot of times, and it's easier just to get rid of the physical stuff because sometimes, the physical stuff is a manifestation of everything else that's going on in our lives. So I like the way you just broke it up. But like you said, the time is worth it. Yes, sometimes, I mean, even just like you said, even when you want to eat healthy, it's not something that's going to happen overnight. You got to keep consistently doing it over and over and over again. So.
Right.
Yeah, and I love this. I just love the fact that reclaim the energy, freedom, and fun. I mean, if anything else, that should motivate people, one, to buy your book, but also to really, truly get rid of the clutter. So do you have any strategies for us in regards to organizing? Letting go of stuff, but then also, is there something that maybe we can organize either in this year or maybe like in the beginning of the new year that really we should focus on if we want to really clear our space and feel the rush?
Okay. Well, the first thing that is probably most effective is to think about, like, give some serious thought to how you want to spend your time in your space, whether it's your home or your office. Do you want to have more space and like a nicer place for your friends and family to come over? Do you want to be more entertaining? Or do you want to have the decks cleared so you can spend your life on adventures every spare minute of your free time out and about doing something, wild and exciting? Or do you have some special hobbies that you'd like to spend time on that you never seem to get around to? So having that dream in front of you is much more inspiring than just looking at the piles and thinking about them. And one of the tips I came up with was, if your family really likes to decorate for the holidays, you might think about clearing space for those decorations, but instead of shoving things in a closet to make the space for your decorations, you could go ahead and start decluttering, getting rid of the things that you don't use or love as much, so that then when the holiday's over and you put all your decorations away, you've already got a head start on some extra space, and it'll be more fun for the holidays too. But it's always good to look at a pile of things that are all one category and figure out which ones are your most favorite. That's Marie Kondo's big tip to the world. But when you separate out your favorite, say you have 20 books and you separate your 10, say, if I could only keep 10 of these, which would they be? And you put those in one pile and the ones that you would leave behind in the other. It's easier to let them go when you can see, oh yeah, the favorites really, really give me a lot more energy and I love those so much more. And these just kind of drag me down. So it's easy to start sorting that way.
Mm. I like those tips. I like, getting your favorites and then, putting the others on the side. Because once you start really focus on your favorites, then like you said, those other ones, it'll be easier to get out the door. But I also liked your tip about the holiday decorations, because I think that's where a lot of people really get some overwhelmed in the next season. Because what they do is they take all the decorations down, they shove them in containers, whatever, put them away until the next year. And then once again, it's the tangled lights that they're dealing with. They probably haven't dealt with in at least five or more years. But you're
Yep.
right. It's like, just take them out and just look at them like, I don't want to use this. I don't want to use that. And then that's less that you have to use and store. I like those tips. Great tips, Connie.
Thank
So,
you.
so with all that you do, as an author, organizer, engineer, in the community and your family, like, how do you organize your day or just stay organized?
I tend to, because my schedule is pretty fluid compared to a lot of people, I tend to organize based on my week rather than the day. And first priority is some time with my kids and their families, which happens about once a week. So that goes in first. And in the past, I was so focused and stressed out about the engineering work, or mainly engineering, that I would put everything else as second priority. But I don't do that anymore. Like the family time comes first and the meetings or whatever have to be around that. I also learned recently when we had to stay inside for a while in a nameless time, that I get very depressed if I don't get enough exercise. Plus, I spend a lot of time on the computer anyway, so it's just kind of inherent. So I go now 5 times a week to my athletic club, and I usually these are always usually around a class. I discovered that I don't push myself nearly as hard when I'm working out by myself. I used to do that so it would save time because the classes are usually longer than I would work out. But it's so much more fun, and I'm way stronger and more flexible now since I started doing it that way. And so that's flexible too, because there's classes different times of the day. So all the other work kind of fits in around those things. And so it just keeps me in a good frame of mind, because for me, the main thing is I work better with my schedule being whenever I want to do the work, not at any particular hours. I can't even do one of those things where some people say, block off 3 hours in the morning, you're going to do your work. That doesn't work for me at all. So you have to figure out what works for you. And if you love the structure of a job and then being done at the end of the day, then that's what you should do. So it's still, a lot of it is work, but I like to do, especially the writing and the organizing. I like doing it. So it's pretty easy. I've recently read that the reason that our lives seem to go faster and faster is because we get into routines. We do the same thing every day, and then we don't really notice, or we're always focused on our goals and our schedules and our agendas. So we're always living in the future, not here. So if you can spend especially a little bit of time every day on something you love to do, whether it's a hobby or cooking or whatever, then that slows you down into the present. So you relish each day more, and time seems to go slower. That's the real secret why little kids feel, it seems like their time is so drawn out when you're a kid, because you're always bringing in new information to your brain. But as you get older and you get more into routines, then you don't necessarily bring new stuff in all the time. So
that's a good way. That's a good way, because I know I walk. So when I walk, I purposely walk slow. I purposely make sure that I notice like the leaves or the trees or the buildings or things like that. And I try to walk, like take different routes, like not the same one. So I'll get to see something different, notice something different. So you're right. Great. Sometimes you just have to like really, truly slow down.
Exactly. Right.
And then that helps you reclaim your energy too. So Connie, how can listeners connect with you?
Well, my website is clearthespace.com. So that's pretty easy to remember. I'm also on LinkedIn and Facebook, and I'm going to be moving more into like Pinterest and YouTube, doing some more videos coming up. That's actually my favorite thing to do in the world, is make videos. So I'll be doing a lot more of that. And that's it. It's easy. One thing I wanted to mention, though, is this rush. The rush that you get, like when you clear out a closet or something, and you're like, ooh, that feels good. Those are endorphins going through your body. Those are the pain-killing chemicals. Like when you eat something spicy, and your brain releases chemicals because it thinks you're getting burned, and then you feel better. A few minutes later, you're like, dang, that's good chili, or whatever. You just feel really good. So that's the same endorphins that you get when you exercise for half an hour, like you go for a half-hour walk and you feel really good. And it's the same endorphins that you feel when you have an emotional release, like you have a good cry over something and you feel better. Same thing. And I recently learned that endorphins are good for your health. They actually improve your immune system. So the rush is.
Yeah. Okay. Well, listeners, you've heard it from Connie, the author. So that should motivate you to really begin to just get rid of your stuff. Because I get a rush when I get rid of my stuff. When I'm like, okay, you know what? It's time to tackle a closet or just downsize some things. It's like when I feel so much better when I just take them to the donations or they pick them up. It's like that rush. It's like, yes. Stuff is moving out the house. Thank you for mentioning that. So, of course, listeners, I will have a direct link to Connie's website on the show page. So, Connie, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Janet. I really appreciate the opportunity.
So what was your takeaway from my conversation with Connie? I would love for you to either comment below the link on social media, or you can send me a voicemail by going to the show page. So now let's transition to Taylor's Tip Time, and we're going to talk about some decluttering strategies. Number 1, decide on the area that you need to focus. Is it the bedroom? Is it the home office? Is it the kitchen? Number 2, schedule a time to start. This is still time. You still got, a couple of hours here or there you can allocate to their project. Number 3, let go of anything you will not use now or in the new year. For example, soon we'll be putting away. Right now we're enjoying all those wonderful decorations, but soon we will be putting them away. So that might be a time to at least declutter that area of your life. And also, number 4, schedule, date, and time to donate, recycle, or trash. So a lot of times we get so energized because we've gotten rid of so much stuff, and we've got the piles by the garage door, the front door, but it never goes any further than that. So once you have created the piles of everything that needs to go out the door, the next step is scheduling it to be donated, or you take it yourself. And number 5 is repeat at least once a quarter. So right now, maybe, you can focus on just kind of getting rid of all of those, invitations and catalogs and magazines from the previous year. Then when you go into the new year, look at your decorations. But also, because in the United States, when we get ready for the new year and we jump into the new year, we start thinking taxes. So then that'll be something you can focus on. And then, of course, you can focus. And you can have a focus every single quarter. Because one of the things I decided to do was I decided to not overwhelm myself with everything going on in my life. And I think a lot of times we need to really just be open and honest with ourselves. It's like, you know what? I have a lot going on right now. And so therefore, I decided October was my living room and my home office. November was my bedroom and bathroom area. And then December was my kitchen and dining room area. Just kind of seeing if there's anything that I want to fix, I want to let go, I want to repurpose, all of those things. And I had a conversation a few months ago with the woman who actually does my hair, but she's also a client. And she was talking about this one area, in her building where she has her salon that she really wanted to tackle. And I said, you know what? And that was back in September. And I said, you know what? I said, the holidays are coming up, and I know it's going to get very busy here in the salon. Then you and your husband travel. I said, so since it's really not an area that there's a lot of traffic or it impedes what you do or how you feel, because it's in like a basement, let's focus on that in the spring. And she said, I said, because you have a lot of things, your schedule's full right now. I said, let's do it in the spring. So sometimes it's just thinking like that. I just wanted to share that a little bit with you. But as we head into the new year, is it time you got organized? From your paperwork to your time to your life, let me help you on your journey to getting organized. So if you or someone you love needs to conquer that clutter or just needs help getting started, go to my contact page, schedule a 15-minute session, take the steps necessary to start by doing something today. Click the link in the show page, and remember, there's still time for some gift certificates as well. Well, I want to take a moment to thank you. Thank you for following me on social media, for your likes, your retweets, for your sharing. Please continue to follow me on all my social media platforms, including TikTok. And make sure you check out my Pinterest page, and I have a board for clutter busters. Check that out as well. And also make sure you check out my YouTube channel as well. Subscribe and click the bell so you'll get notified every time there's a new video available. And of course, ladies, if you're thinking of getting your life organized, don't get overwhelmed. Join my Facebook group, Living Life Totally Organized. It's a community of women supporting each other on their journey to living life that is totally organized. It's free to join. I love the camaraderie. I love the encouragement. I love the sharing. But also, I like going on the page and seeing if somebody's posted a question, a photo, or a video, and that allows me to give them some strategies from start to finish. Well, you know what time it is? Are you doing a jig? It is Toss It Tuesday time, and today I want you to think about your night tables, side tables. Let's clear the clutter off of there. App suggestion is Declutter, and basically it is an app, and it's perfect for this time of year because we get all the new and latest and greatest technology. It allows us to take the old technology and really sell it so that we can get some money back, but we're also not allowing it to clutter up in a junk drawer. Again, check out my Amazon shop for $20 and under gift ideas, just in case you need some last minute gifts. And just check out my repurposed boards because you're getting things in. You might be getting a cake pan in, it's beautiful. You're getting so many things in, so just kind of check that out. And of course, my book suggestion is from our guest. It's Clear the Space, Feel the Rush, Declutter Body, Mind, and Stuff to Reclaim Energy, Freedom, and Fun. Again, clear the space, feel the rush. I'm telling you, you do feel a rush when you clear your space. I know I feel a rush every time I clear a space. And of course, if you are just looking to have audiobooks as something you want to do in the new year, be sure to get your free copy and a free 30-day trial from audible.com. Again, you can get a free copy and a free 30-day trial from Audible. Click the link in the show page. And my quote for this week is, clear clutter, make space for you. Clear clutter, make space for you. Well, I definitely want to thank you for listening, and be sure to share this podcast with your family, your friends, and on your social media network. And again, let me know you enjoyed listening to this podcast by leaving a review and also supporting this podcast by buying a cup of coffee. So, visit my website at www.janetmtaylor.com. I almost gave the other website, janetmtaylor.com. And until next time, have a clutter-free day. But most of all, have an organized week. Organization is a quintessential element of a clutter-free life. Join me as we take this journey together. Along the way, we will find the necessary answers to your organizing dilemmas. My name is Janet M. Taylor, and you are listening to Got Clutter, Get Organized.